G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be ranking teams ahead of the 2023 season. Very early, I know it's still late October, but today we're sort of doing what we have done throughout the season when we went through the power rankings after certain rounds. Not a ladder predictions or anything like that. You could arguably say it's an early ladder predictions, but it's more of a power rankings where I believe currently at this moment of time where these teams are going to be sitting at the end of next season. One, most likely to win the flag, 18th least likely to win the flag. I think we saw True Footy do a similar video to this at the end of 2021 last year, and I took a bit of inspiration for this one as well. So if you haven't checked out his channel, I'll chuck it down below in the description. We'll start off the Lions here, and I believe they'll be expected to make the top four with the additions I've made to their list, adding Dunkley, Gunston as well, Ashcroft. I think he'll be playing a few games of footy, and they certainly underachieved home and away season-wise, the Lions this season. Should have finished in the top four. They made it to the prelims, so we know they're capable. I think the Lions are going to get a little bit better next season, or at least they're expected to. To be honest with you, this isn't really a video where I'm going to be making too many of my own opinions, more of where I think the majority of people expect these sides to be placed. And I think we can all expect the Lions probably are a top four side with the additions that they've made. Same with Melbourne. I'll probably switch it. I think actually Melbourne might dip. I do see a few people saying Melbourne might dip into the possibly 5th to 8th range, or even missing out of finals altogether. I don't think it's going to be to that severity. I think for now, probably still top four. It just didn't look like the team that they were in the first 10 of the year, but certainly not the team that they were in 2021. They just weren't able to take it up to the best as good as they were able to do it in 2021. So still going to put them in the top four bracket for now. Western Bulldogs is a really interesting one for me because I think they can certainly miss out in the finals next year. I do think they're going to slide before they rise. I know the Lions have a fairly good list profile, but there are other teams around them that I just expect to rise, quicker than they do. And I just think they're on a downwards trajectory at the moment. They had a really poor season last year. That could possibly be an outlier. They could shoot back up into the top four, some are saying. But I have seen a lot of people, tipping them out of the top 8, to be honest. And I think for now, they're in that 9 to 12 bracket, especially losing a few key plays. They obviously lost Dunkley, one of the best and fairest, one of their best players, and Lockie Hunter as well for nothing. Those are two valuable players for their side. So I think they're going to be in that bracket of 9 to 12. We got the Sydney Swans, and I think the Swans are probably expected to dip a little bit, considering that they were quite a young side. And I know this has been openly discussed quite a bit, but teams, that do get smashed in grannies don't tend to respond or recover very well the year after. Sydney, though, they make the grand final. I don't think I can have him outside of the top 8. I think they'll probably be in that 5th to 8th range. I'm just not quite sure at the moment if they're going to be in the 1st to 4th bracket again. Possibly, but we'll just see what happens. Gold Coast, I've got to chuck him here. I don't think they're quite yet ready for finals. I wouldn't have him in my finals at the moment, but they're certainly contending and they're a chance. They're a real chance of finals, but I think realistically they're at least 8 to 9 sides better than the Suns. And sort of this is how this video works in a way. It's really how many teams I believe are better than that current team that I put on the list. And for me, the Suns, I think they're a middle of the road side at the moment. St Kilda, very tough at the moment with the Saints. A lot of people seeing them plummet, and for right reasons, in this 13th to 15th range. I still think there are at least 6 or 7 teams worse than the Saints. The Saints, with our acquisition of Ross Lyon, which is about to be announced, it probably already is announced, I think it brings a lot of optimism for the club. There's a chance we could actually possibly excel into the 8 with Lyon. There's also a chance we could finish as low as the bottom 4. But for mine, I'm going to chuck him below the Dogs at the moment. I think, the Suns, at the moment, they're going to be better side than the Dogs next year, and I think the Dogs will still be better than the Saints. Geelong, pretty easy. They win the flag. You can't really take them away from that first position. There's nothing they've done to deserve to drop. So they're in the first position. Whether they finish first or not next season, I guess we'll see what happens. But for now, at the moment, the Cats are the best side in the comp. So that's why in the first position it makes sense. Adelaide could rise. They could rise, but I'm going to be safe. It's going to be a very safe, conservative video, to be honest. And I think power rankings wise, they're probably still in that 13th to 15th bracket. Probably at the top end of that bracket as well, though. Richmond's tough. I might leave Richmond, Collingwood, and Carlton to the end. I'll go with Essendon, and I think Essendon are in a similar boat to the Saints in a way. Sacking their coach, really disappointing season. But the Bombers, I think they're a little bit worse than the Saints overall. Bit worse list, just performing terribly for most of the season, especially the end of the season, that game against Port Adelaide. It's weird for the Bombers, though, because they can have seasons where they're just shocking and then they just shoot up into the top 8 randomly. I don't know. It's weird for the Bombers. There's a chance they could shoot up into the 8 just out of the blue, but realistically, I'm not making any bold assumptions. I right now see them as a 14th place side. They're just not that good at the moment. They haven't really added any place to their list in the trade period for me to believe that they're going to improve, in 2023. They might improve, but they're probably going to stay around this mark. GWS, really tough to rank. either this category or the bottom category. For now, I'm going to chuck them 13th to 15th. But yeah, they're just getting rid of all their plays. Hopper, Taranto, Bruin, Bobby Hill. Who have they added in? Yes, they've got some good draft picks, but they're going to take time to develop. They're not going to become superstars straight away. So I can only see them doing worse unless 2022 was just an anomaly and they can find a way to boost up a few spots in the ladder. I think for the Hawks right now, it's quite a common opinion for them to slide down a couple of spots after their trade period because they got rid of a lot of experienced players in Gunston, Mitchell, O'Meara. And I know in the future, like in the next 5-ish years, they're not going to be expecting those players to be playing for the team. But at the moment, that's going to lose a lot of experience. And I know they're doing a complete rebuild at the moment, the Hawks. So because of that, I feel like they're going to be younger. They're going to be less mature. They're probably going to lose some more games, to be honest, with the Hawks. They're probably going to dip for the next season or two, the Hawks, before they start rising up quite quickly to the top of the ladder when they complete their full rebuild. But of course, the Hawks have some good young players. Newcomb especially, Dylan Moore. They'll continue to get games into them. For right now, at the moment, the Hawks, I probably see them as a bottom 3 or 4 side. I'd be quite surprised if they finished outside the bottom 4, considering they'd lost a lot of talent. Port Adelaide, for mine, are a team that probably should expect to finish in the finals, but I still think there are 8 better sides to them. Not saying that they can't make the finals, I think they probably will, but right now, power rankings-wise, they're probably still in that 9th to 12th range, pushing to 5 to 8. Yeah, had a very disappointing season last year. They know they can do better, and we saw, some performances last year that proves that. They're certainly not premiership material, though, the power, but, adding in Rioli and Horne-Francis will only bolster their list, and I think they just had a poor season. West Coast and North are quite easy to rank. I think it can go either way, really, one way or the other for North or West Coast, but I still think West Coast will be slightly better than North Melbourne, and that's solely due to the fact that North Melbourne, well, they're just in all sorts at the moment with their club on and off the field. People are still saying Clarko might not coach him next year. I think he will. I think that should be fine, but I don't think Clarko can make that much of an immediate impact for them, considering they've already let go of some players in North Melbourne, like getting rid of pick 1, Horne-Francis. It just can't be good for them. I don't think they're in the right mindset right now at North, and I just see him at the moment probably being the worst side still. West Coast, those performances to finish the season just gave me a bit of hope for them that they can probably get out of this slump quicker than what many others predict. So for now, the West Coast Eagles are going to be ahead of North. And Freo, for mine, I can actually see him dropping out of the 8, but right now, they're probably going to be in that position to 5 to 8. I don't know where in that position, but probably below Sydney, I'd say, at the moment. Now, these are the 3 teams that are toughest to decide. Richmond, Collingwood, Carlton, all I've left to last, all that I'll put in the top 8. But I'm saying this now, I'm almost certain that either one of Richmond, Collingwood, or Carlton, if not multiple, will finish in the top 4 in 2023. I'm saying this now. Is it that bold of an opinion? Probably not. For mine, because of the acquisitions the Tigers made in this trade period, bolstering their squad, securing Taranto and Hopper for the midfield, I think they're going to end up being a top 4 quality side. I think we saw 7 AFL obviously sucking Richmond's dick again and having Richmond as their expected possible flag favourites. That's a bit of a stretch, but I honestly reckon the Tigers right now, power rankings wise, are probably in that 4th position. And if they can just improve and get better in those close game scenarios, considering they lost quite a few games by less than a goal, and just improve their overall discipline, the Tigers, they probably could have almost made the top 4 this year. And next year, I think they'll just get better, to be honest. The Tigers, I wrote them off last year, but I'm currently quite bullish on them for this season. They could almost go all the way. So I have the Tigers in 4th, and Collingwood and Carlton. I am ranking this in order, so I think Collingwood, it's tough. I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to back up the year that they had last year. I do believe that they still overachieved the Pies. As good as the season they've had, I'm not too sure if this game plan stacks up. The game plan's good, but I'm not too sure if relying on winning every game by less than a goal is going to stack up over the next couple of years. We saw what happened in the finals. Yes, they were in those close game scenarios, but they just weren't able to prevail. They weren't on the winning side when it mattered. They're going to dip a little bit. They'll probably still make the finals. I do expect them making the finals, the Pies. I'm not going to be here solely hating on Collingwood, but I think, to be honest, Carlton might finish ahead of them. I'm going to reshuffle this because I actually don't know where I'm going to place these sides order-wise, but Carlton, for mine, should finish in the finals. Obviously, the Blues unfortunately missing out on finals in the most depressing way possible. Is it going to make the Blues or is it going to break the Blues? I do believe it's going to make the Blues. I think they're definitely good enough to make finals with their list. They're just going to get better. They got a Brownlow medalist, a Coleman medalist, and just stars all around the ground for the Blues. Their midfield is arguably one of the best in the comp, and they're arguably the most scary side to watch at their very best. And we saw what they were capable of at the start of the season. I definitely do have high hopes for Carlton next year. They're a side that can make it to the top 4. But again, with Carlton, the fact that they always seem to fail on everyone's expectations, they could just shit the bed and finish like below 12. I doubt that though, so that's why I've got them in this category. And I just don't know how to split the 5 to 8 sides. Those are the sides that I really don't know how to split. The other sides I'm happy with. Port Adelaide can make finals. Gold Coast, I think they're pushing. Bulldogs will slide. St Kilda, they're iffy. I think they'll slide as well. Adelaide, they're on the rise, but probably still in this position at the moment. Essendon and GWS will stay the same. Hawks will dip. West Coast, North are there. But with the 5 to 8th range, I really don't know where to put the sides. So can you guys in the comments rank predictions-wise who you think will finish higher between Carlton, Collingwood, Freo, and Sydney in order in the comments below. We always see random teams surprise and rise up the ladder and fall, so you never know. It could be one of us in Kilda, Essendon, Adelaide that make the finals that no one predicts them to. You just quite never know with the season. If you're new to the channel though, subscribe for heaps of AFL content even during the off season. At the moment there's not much to upload, but I'm still trying to get as much as I possibly can. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon in my next video.